So for those of you that don't know me, my name's Laura Paterson, and my really long job title is Head of Stakeholder and Brand Engagement for Scottish Agritourism. I'm part of the team that manages Scottish Agritourism. And next year in 2025, we're going to celebrate 5 years of the organisation. And as a sector body, we've achieved a huge amount in that time, and I feel like I can confidently say we now, as I've been part of the team for going on 3 years, nearly half of the 5 years, so I probably need to start taking some responsibility and some credit if it's on offer too. So I joined as Marketing and Comms Manager in January 2022, and in April of this year I was promoted. I took a step up with the intention of letting Caroline take a step back from the day-to-day running of Scottish Agritourism to focus on her role as sector lead and delivering Scotland's Agritourism Monitor Farm programme through her consultancy business. So my role has certainly changed over the last year, and it's definitely grown with the organisation. And in 2025, this is going to change a little bit more again, with me becoming the lead day-to-day person in charge of Scottish Agritourism, if you like, and Caroline will be focusing on national strategy, including the Global Agritourism Conference in 2026 and other business interests. And our members will be aware that Caroline and I have had other help over the years, particularly from our destination leaders and board. And earlier this year, we had Ewan join the team. But in the main, everything we've achieved has been with a very small team. And in the lead up to turning 5, we've done a bit of reflection around how the organisation began, how we've grown, and with a huge, exciting event on the horizon, what the future might look like. So earlier this year, we asked the members of Scottish Agritourism what member benefits they value the most, and we did this with a view to looking at where we should be focusing our efforts going forward. Over our 4.5 years, we've been game for pretty much anything. With a very limited resource, we haven't said no to much, and we've done our best to make sure that members are happy. And something that came back loud and clear from the member survey was that being part of a supportive network was the clear lead in terms of benefits, followed by lobbying and representation, business support, and then marketing via the Go Rural brand. And the key word that stood out when we asked for open responses, the keywords were learning, sharing, support, network, community, knowledge, but in the main, the keyword was network. And 95% of respondents to the survey felt that they were part of a strong network or a movement in the rural economy. So being a tight-knit network is the foundation that the organisation is built on, and this is something that we will continue to strengthen going forward. And we know just from speaking to our members and our supporters that membership of Scottish Agritourism contributes to the bigger picture of agritourism in Scotland, and to that end, the organisation needs to deliver for members. We showcased the power of the network in March for International Women's Day. The theme for the day was to inspire inclusion, and we highlighted that the Scottish Agritourism Network is made up of 2/3 women who will often work full-time on or off the farm while being a driving force for their agritourism business, and that there is a higher number of female directors of farm businesses, which include agritourism or farm retail, than those that are solely agriculture. We created a fun wee video out of all these pictures of our members. We had over 100 of them. Didn't quite break the internet, but I think it does show that we're a really joined up group, and we're quite a fun bunch. In September, 10 members of the network came together, walking 26 miles on the Rob Roy Way, and they raised over almost £12,000 for Macmillan Cancer Research. That's before gift aid. So our network really is the best. And in true Scottish agritourism style, they even managed to recruit a new member along the way. When I started in January 2022, there was about 120 members, I think, and they were mostly agritourism businesses, and we had 1 or 2 trade members. And Caroline at that time knew every single agritourism owner, their business, their farm, and their families by name. And I came in, and because at that time we were uploading all our members to a new website system, and we also had a significant grant, COVID recovery grant from Visit Scotland, so we were producing 3 blogs a week telling people places that you could go rural to from Scotland, towns and cities. So I quickly got up to speed on who's who in the Scottish Agritourism membership too. By the end of 2022, we'd reached 188 members. In 2023, we gained a further 77 members, taking us up to 265. And as of today, we stand at 293 members. We've got 238 in agritourism businesses, 19 farmers starting out in agritourism, 7 associate members, and 31 trade. So it's a relatively quick growth. And you'll hear more about the national agritourism figures over the course of the next day and a half. And all the while, we've used the same spreadsheet to keep track of our members that Caroline started in June 2020, when the Scottish Government asked that Scottish agritourism should formalise as a sector body to be recognised for COVID support. And let me tell you, it served its purpose. I think if I could describe it, I'd say it's got more holes than a Tinky's vest. Honestly, it's hanging on by a thread. So, while we've been having a wee period of reflection over the last 12 months, we've had to look at how we can improve efficiencies. We need better, cleaner information to help us communicate with our members, to target new members, and to store all of our contacts. So, we've made a big leap, and we've invested in new CRM software, that's customer relationship management software, and the farmers in the room will like this. It's called Sheep. So I'm the project manager for getting Sheep up and running, so I have become the shepherd. And our contacts in Sheep are called our flock. So at Scottish Agritourism HQ, we're all very excited about Sheep. It's a dedicated membership software. It's used by other membership organisations throughout the country, and it gives us much better data management capabilities. We'll save a lot of valuable time by automating a lot of our membership processes, including invoicing, so we can spend more time engaging with members, delivering and growing the membership. So we're setting up Sheep at the moment, and sticking with the bad analogies, is probably at the gimmer stage at the moment. And like many gimmers at this time of year, a lot is going to rest in the next few weeks, and we should see some results come the springtime. So we'll be in touch with members about getting them set up in the Sheep system and how they can also use Sheep themselves to manage their membership. One thing we've done to better engage with members this year is to introduce monthly online member meetings in an effort to make ourselves more visible and accountable to the membership. And it's meant that we can update our members on our activity in person every month. And survey says that 3/4 of members find these valuable. They're quite informal meetings, and after the scheduled business, there's always an opportunity for general questions and chat. And I think it's really given members a chance to get to know the team and vice versa. And of course, many Scottish Agritourism members also attend the Agritourism Monitor Farm events and meetings, and there's a large crossover there in terms of bringing the sector together. So with a great range of Monitor Farm events throughout the year, it's meant that Scottish Agritourism hasn't arranged so many in-person events, as we know it's difficult for everyone to fit everything in. We did have a few opportunities for members to meet up at the Royal Highland Show. We had a drinks reception on the stand of trade member Iron and Pine, and also on the Scottish Government stand with a welcome from Cabinet Secretary Mary Goujon. And we also had 2 days at the stand of Scottish Agritourism member Bell Ingram, who kindly offered us their space to meet with members and members of the public over the weekend. At online meetings this year, we've had 5 guest speakers, and the remainder of the meetings have been just me and Caroline with updates and the issues of the day. So we'll carry on with that next year, and in fact, next Friday there will be a meeting for members focused on the impacts and concerns from the recent budget. And we'll be joined by Andy Ritchie from trade member Azette, who will take us through the budget and what it means for agritourism businesses. And Caroline is going to be gathering evidence of impacts, both from this meeting and from a survey that will go out to members to take to the National Strategy Board when they meet in December, so we can demonstrate the effect that these budget decisions will have on Scotland's agritourism sector. Going back to the survey, sorry, that's the meeting there. Going back to the survey, 89% of Scottish agritourism members believe a direct route to government is extremely or very important, and we very much believe that it's important too. And it's down to campaigning for agritourism sector recognition that we have sector investment in Scotland's Agritourism Monitor Farm and in our sector lead. And throughout the course of this year, political engagement hasn't slowed down. At the end of May, which was Scottish Agritourism Month, we welcomed MSP Willie Rennie to our business breakfast, which was sponsored by trade member Berners Paul, and Mr. Rennie spoke passionately to the attendees there about agritourism, his experiences of the sector and his hopes for its future. Also in May, we met with Dave Duggan, MP at Westminster, and he gave us a great private tour of the Houses of Parliament, and we were able to sit out and have a great chat about the issues pertinent to Scottish agritourism members and the wider sector. Caroline was invited to speak on agritourism at the Scottish Conservative Party conference in Aberdeen in March in the Supporting Young People in Our Rural Communities session. We wrote to the Scottish Government this year when new legislation was announced not allowing the use of wood-burning stoves in new build properties, and we were pleased to see this squashed later in the year. We were at Scottish Parliament in June with Deputy First Minister Kate Forbes launching the Go Rural Map, and we grabbed an opportunity with her to highlight agritourism and the potential of the sector. And just last month, we were back at Parliament again with 20 of our Agritourism Futures delegates. Agritourism Futures is a programme of development that we run each year for people under the age of 35 with an interest in agritourism, and this is very kindly supported by Scottish Rural Network. When we were at Parliament at the end of last month, we met with 10 MSPs from the Liberal Democrats, Conservatives and SNP, and the young people were encouraged to ask questions and share their point of view as the future of the agritourism sector, and we'll be hearing from them in the last session tomorrow. Another finding from the survey was that 95% of members believe that local area support from destination leaders is important. So destination leaders are super important to Scottish agritourism. It's a voluntary role, and the purpose is to represent Scottish agritourism in a designated region of Scotland, and that could be with members or local authorities, politicians, DMOs, and to generally support the growth of agritourism in that area. So we have 16 destination leaders across the country, each with their own regions, and we have 2 in the Highlands and Islands. So this is them on the slide as of today. But we've got 5 destination leaders stepping down from their roles today. On behalf of Scottish Agritourism and the board, I'd like to say a big thank you to David Smythe from Cloak Farm in Perthshire, Liv Phillips, Cowden Farm in Aberdeenshire, and Claire Fleming from Peel Farm in Angus. And an extra special big thank you to another 2 destination leaders stepping down today who have more than served their time in the role, over 4 years as destination leaders. We've got Fiona Scott from Fern Farm in the Highlands and Ailsa Curry from Bellevue Farm, Arden. So could we just give them a wee round of applause? And so we've got some new destination leaders to welcome and introduce today. Caroline Ronald from Glenmore will be destination leader for the Highlands and Islands, replacing Fiona. Graham McCall and Lisa McCall will be taken over in Angus. They're from Charlton Farm. Christine McIntosh will become the destination leader for Aberdeenshire. She's from Marshall's Farm Shop. Jan Dixon from Salsgirth Home Farm in Perthshire will be replacing David. And Janet Borthwick from Midwellwood in Ayrshire will be taken over from Ailsa. So welcome aboard, guys. On behalf of Caroline, Ewan and me, I want to say a big thank you to our board and destination leaders for all their support throughout the year. So we're going to continue to review what our focus is going to be in the coming months. We might have to stop doing certain things so we can do more of others, but we're working closely with the board, the National Strategy Board, other partners and agencies just now, and we're looking at for areas where we can collaborate more, or perhaps there might be other organisations or agencies who are better placed to deliver some of the things that we currently do. And one area where we always deliver is the Scottish Agritourism Conference, and you're in for an absolute treat over the next day and a half. The conference is a huge chunk of work that takes a lot of time to organise, and it's a massive team effort that we couldn't deliver without the support of our conference sponsors. So I'm just going to take a minute to thank them. And they are Scottish Rural Network, who give us extensive support for the conference, including the Agritourism Futures programme that I mentioned. Perth and Carross Council, of course. Quality Meat Scotland, who've supported the purchase of Scotch beef from our member business Macbeth's for the dinner tonight. Azets, who are sponsoring tonight's sector dinner. Shepherd and Wedderburn, sponsoring tonight's drinks reception, which I'm sure we're all looking forward to. Galbraith, sponsors of the lovely lanyards that you're wearing today. Johnson Carmichael, who are a Scottish Agritourism Silver Trade partner, sponsoring today's Scottish Enterprise breakout session. And of course, we've got 12 exhibitors in the foyer who are keen to meet all of you, so please do have a chat with them during breaks and lunch. And we also have sponsors items from our members for everyone to enjoy, including home baking from Charlton Farm in Angus. I think that's today, and tomorrow is Black Isle berries in the Highlands. We've got veggies for the soup, sponsored by Agritourism Monitor Farm, Westerton Farm in Aberdeenshire. Lovely gin for the drinks reception from the Wee Farm Distillery in Lanarkshire. After dinner cheeses from Isle of Mull Cheese and the Orkney Dairy, and soft drinks from Summerhouse Drinks in Aberdeenshire. And I wanted to say as well a huge well done to Jill for picking up the mantle of organising the conference from Sheena just a few months ago, and also Ewan, who's done a huge amount of work towards today and tomorrow. So, as I hand you over to Caroline, I know you're going to be hearing a lot about the World Agritourism Conference in 2026 over the course of the next day and a half, but I wanted to share something that made me smile a couple of weeks ago. I was compiling our annual review, which if you haven't read it, it's massive and it's online. Please go and take a read. And I came across a social post that I wrote at the end of last year when several Scottish Agritourism members took a learning journey to Tuscany through Caroline's consultancy, and I was lucky enough to join them. And all the fresh air and inspiration and everything else had all the creativity flowing. And I finished the post by saying the Agritourism Network in Scotland is so supportive of each other, and we will continue to work together to grow, campaign, lobby and develop until maybe one day other countries will visit us to find out how the Scots do it. And I don't think any of us knew that that day would be here so soon. So here's the lady that made it happen, Caroline. I hope you have a great day and a half.